Next game we're going to talk about is Mighty Monsters.
Mighty Monsters. The designer was Desnet, Amane. Art was by Markus, Erdt, and it's published by Queen Games.
So we're going to talk about this later, but this was a play to win that Queen had.
Right.
But we won't go into that right now. Obviously, we're going to talk about that in our Origins recap later in the show. But Mighty Monsters is basically a game where it's kind of semi-cooperative in a way.
Yes.
Where you have like this throne room, and you have all these slots for cards, and you're basically monsters trying to send your hordes of guys in to kill the king.
Right.
Or not really kill him. I guess you're just trying to steal his treasure.
Right.
Yeah. And so he brings out guards. The guards you flip out on these different spaces. It's pretty much one per player. Yeah, because you all had 5 probably. Mm-hmm. We played 2 separate games of this. My group had 4. Matt's had 5.
Right.
So yeah, we had 4 guards between us and the king, and you had 5. And basically what's cool about it is that each card shows you like the general strength of it.
A range.
Yeah, it's like a range. Like his strength might be 7 to 9, but he's going to give you 10 to 15 gold.
Right.
And when you actually get past the first part of the game, you flip them over and you see what they actually are.
Right.
Each player has a deck of cards. It's a strength 1 through 5. Mm-hmm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then your 1 has a 0 health, and then 1, 1, 2, 2, something like that.
Right.
So your 5 cost guy or 5 strength guy has a 2 health.
Yes.
That's important for
later.
Right. Yeah. But basically, you take turns in each round of the game. You pass the first player marker, but you take one. You get 3 cards. The other 2 are face down in your deck. You shuffle them all, obviously, and draw 3. And you're going to take one of those cards, and you're going to play it face up on any spot that you want on either side of one of those guards out.
Right.
And then the next person's going to do the same thing, and you can keep going around. Now, you can bump people off. You have to pay a fee to do so, and it depends on what the star rating of that monster is.
Right.
Most time, you're going to pay 1 to the bank and also 1 or 2 to the player.
Right.
And then you just send that card back to their hand, and they can put their cards back out. Once all players have played 2 cards, then you flip them over. When once everybody played 2 cards, basically every single guard has a card or 2 cards assigned to it.
Yes.
So, but what's interesting is you start from the door and then you go towards the king. And so you flip it over and you say, okay, well, he's a strength 8, because, whatever. Well, I put down a 5, and maybe Matt committed to this, and he put down a 4, and now we have 9. We kill him. We split the gold evenly. Anything extra would go to the player who played the highest strength.
Yes.
You move on to the next monster, same thing, so forth. If any time one of the monsters fails, say it's like a strength 8, and we put down 2 3s, well, we fail that, and then both players, their strength, whatever their health is, you pay that in gold to the bank,
mm-hmm.
and then each monster or each guard past that automatically fails. So the rest of that phase is shot.
Yep.
Because you don't get past that guard to even fight the next ones. And then all those players play stuff too.
Yeah.
So you can really mess up the very first round, the first guard, and then the rest of them are all people are paying money and getting mad at you and stuff.
Right.
You play the game, I think, a number of rounds equal to the players probably.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we played it 4. Each round has a special tile that flips out and gives you kind of like a, the guy in this spot gets 3 extra fight, but he also gets 3 extra money.
Yeah, it's called like the King's Rules, I think.
King's Rules, yeah. It basically just gives you a special rule for that round. And basically after so many rounds, whoever has the most money is the winner.
Yep.
And so I thought this game, from what I understood, was way lighter than what I was told it was really light. And we looked it up, and it didn't really have that great of ratings, but I actually didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. This is another one where I would have thought to maybe buy it for my kids, but I think it would just turn into laying cards down and then seeing what happened. I don't think they would quite grasp the strategy that is there in the game.
We ended a lot sooner than you. Now,
yes.
Granted, we did have one person left, or less, but we did have an older couple. We're talking like old couple, not being offensive to them, but they're probably in their 60s or so, 70s maybe, and they weren't very conflicting. They didn't really want to do anything that's going to hurt. They didn't jump over other people and send them back. So me and this other guy were the only people who were doing that, and I probably did it the most.
Right.
I felt like a jerk, but I mean that's a good strategy. If you're not going to win anything, flop your guy down at the very beginning as a 1 strength. You know, if the first monster that comes out, it's like 9 power,
right?
And you know somebody put a 5 out there, and you're laying that glass card, and you don't really care for the other card you have out there, man, you could ruin everyone's day.
No, that's a good way to get money is to find a 3-star guard and throw a 1 on it.
Yeah,
someone will bump you, especially if it's in an earlier spot. And they've already laid like big cards later, like down, later on in the row. I mean, they're going to want to. Someone's going to want to move you.
Yeah, because if they don't, then they're going to lose that anyway.
Exactly.
Because they fail. You fail the whole domino effect, and the rest of the guards fail.
Right. So,
I thought it was a pretty clever little game. I kind of wish that I would have won my game.
Right.
And I don't want to get too much into it, but basically whoever won the game actually won a copy of the game.
Yes.
But I probably end up picking this up. I thought it was that fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. While I was on Board Game Geek though, I noticed that it was actually kickstarted as Heroes Gold.
Really?
And they changed the name, and evidently a lot of backers were really upset about it because they evidently it had a different kind of a little bit heavier theme to it, and they feel like they made it too kiddie and friendly.
You mean like the artwork is a little bit?
I don't know if they changed the art. I think it was just kind of maybe the overall thing. I'm sorry, I can't tell you exactly what it was, but people were evidently the name change really upset a lot of backers, and like to the point where they even I think voted on it and said we're displeased with this.
Oh wow!
And the company was like, "Oh well, sorry."
So maybe the rating on Board Game Geek is just an arbitrary.
The scorn people who backed it,
right? People are just like screw you.
Yeah,
and maybe that's it because I can't see this game getting that bad of a review. I mean, it is very samey. I mean, you are doing the same thing over and over and over,
right?
But it's more of like the strategy and the bluffing and kind of messing with people. Like, well, you're gonna have to move me,
right?
Give me some money.
Well, and I don't think it's been out long enough for. Well, it only had 19 reviews from what I saw. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean,
this is pretty new.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's been out long enough. Maybe those are, like we said, just kind of scoring people from the original Kickstarter. And
yeah, maybe so.
And just going from that.
I'd like to see a little bit cooler special tiles, though. Like, I felt like some of those were okay.
Do you remember which ones you saw?
Well, first off, one of ours had an X, so no special rule applied. Which I thought was kind of...
Oh, okay. I know there's one, like, if you get an X with a 1 sword, it means you can't play...
Right, you can't play your 1 strength.
Right.
I don't really like that either, because if you think about it, the way it works is each round, you play 2 of the 3 cards you have, and those 2 cards get discarded, and you pick up the other 2 cards you didn't play that's in your draw pile.
Right.
And then once you play 2 of those cards, those go down, and the 2 other cards come up. So you're kind of cycling through the same 5 cards... But if you unfortunately happen to have the 1 strength in your hand at that time, and then everybody else doesn't, it's kind of detrimental to you. Like, none of the other ones were like that.
Right.
Because the other tiles would be like the guy, the guard that's closest to the king gets +3 fight +5 gold.
Right.
Kind of thing like that. Or I think another one was, I can't remember the 4th one we had, but that's 3 of the ones we did have.
We had one where the last 2 were minus like 2 or 3 gold.
Yeah, see, stuff like that's fine because it affects everyone equally.
Right.
Other than where maybe you go position-wise, but that's the whole point of the game.
Right.
So to stop somebody from being able to cast or to play their 1 strength, that's kind of lame. Like, I didn't like that. I would probably take out the X tile to where it doesn't apply a special rule because I think the special rules kind of beef up the game a little bit, makes it a little bit different each round.
Right.
I don't know. But, I mean, it would be cool if there was a little bit cooler ones, or maybe if you had a couple more cards that have different special abilities on them and stuff. I don't know. I didn't think too hard about this before I thought about it, or before I'm talking about it. But it would be neat if you had a little bit more to do, or maybe like an expansion would kind of add another layer to the game. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Either way, as it is, I think it's a fine game. I like the tiles, and I'll probably pick this up. So, any final thoughts on this one, Matt?
It was fun.
Yeah, really good.